Okay, welcome to today's session. Today we're going to be looking at the lesson 3 of our Primavera P6 training. So remember that in lesson 1, we did basic introduction to project management. There we talked basically about key concepts in project management, remember? We talked about things like what a project means. Then we also talked about the definition of program, as well as the definition of portfolio. And then, of course, some other key terms that we use in project management, like EPS, which is Enterprise Project Structure, then the OBS, which is the Organizational Breakdown Structure, the WBS, which is the Work Breakdown Structure, and then also some other key terms. So, in Lesson 2, we learned how to navigate in Primavera P6 by looking at the different windows and then also understanding what each part of our P6 represents. So lesson 2 helped us to understand the various components of the various components of the Primavera P6 software, and then also essentially explained to us what each of those components mean or what they signify. Alright, so I want to officially welcome you to our lesson 3 of this great session we've been having so far. So in lesson 3, we're going to basically begin to create. That's what will be the primary focus of what we're going to be doing in lesson 3. So here we're going to learn how to create a new OBS. We're also going to learn how to create a new EPS. Then we'll also learn how to create project in Primavera P6. Then also how to organize projects in our P6 database. And then we're going to be working primarily in the home screen, so you can view and manage all your projects in high level. So these are some of the things or some of the topics we're going to cover in this very lesson. I can't wait to dive in. So if you're ready, let us dive in immediately. You begin by launching your Primavera P6 software, and then of course you enter your password and then you sign in. Okay, good. So once we sign in, it takes us in straight to our project window. So you can see where we are at the moment is the project window, which is being highlighted at the very top. And like we explained earlier on in lesson 2, what we're seeing here are the different projects that we have in our Primavera P6. That's essentially what is being displayed here, which is what we refer to as our timeline. And don't forget, this is the Gantt, which is what we see by the right, and then of course we have the detail view below. So if we're paying attention in lesson 2, remember there's a particular menu that I said we use for creating anything at all we want to create in Primavera P6. Yeah, that's the enterprise menu. So what we're going to be doing right away is to create an organizational breakdown structure. So we're going to be creating OBS, and that's what we're going to be doing the very first. So if I click on enterprise, it drops down and you get to see a myriad of things that you can actually create from the enterprise menu. And just like I mentioned earlier on, what we're going to be creating is the organization breakdown structure, which is the OBS, and that's what we're going to be clicking on at this moment. So you click on enterprise and then you click on OBS. So when you click on OBS, the organizational breakdown structure window pops up, which is essentially what we're seeing at this moment. So this is the OBS window, or the organizational breakdown structure window. So we want to create an organizational breakdown structure for the project that we're about to create at this moment. Remember we said that OBS simply represents responsible manager. So to enable us create a new OBS, after we've clicked on enterprise and we've clicked on OBS and the organizational breakdown structure window has popped up, by the right hand side you are going to see certain buttons there. So click on the add button that you have by the right hand side. So you may get this particular notification that says, in order to add an OBS element, the filter will be changed to display all OBS elements. Simply click on OK. So when you do that, you'll notice that your pieces will create a portion for you, which will title New OBS. So part of the things we're going to do is to create our new OBS and then organize it exactly the way we want it organized. So let's say, for example, this particular project is going to be managed by sales consulting. So under the new OBS, you type in the name of your organization, and in this case, since we're using sales as our organization, so you type in sales consulting here. So since we've typed in the name of the organization, which you can see conspicuously written here, it is only necessary that we position this exactly how we want it to be positioned. So I can use this arrow up button to shift it to exactly where I want it to be, which is, what I've done at this moment. So you can see I've taken it to the very top. So I've created a new OBS, which is reorganization itself, and I've titled it Sales Consulting. So once you're done with that, the next thing is you can actually have another OBS under the OBS. Don't forget that earlier on in the course of our deliberation, we explained that when it comes to the OBS, that your OBS helps us to create like a hierarchical structure. That's why it's called organizational breakdown structure. So it helps us to create like a hierarchical structure of responsible managers with respect to your project. So if we want to create, say, another department under sales consulting, all we simply need to do again is, while selecting sales consulting, we click on the add button again, and it creates another portion for us to add a new OBS. So let's say, for example, this particular project is going to be managed by a department within sales consulting. So let's say it's going to be handled by the maintenance department. So we have maintenance department. Okay, good. So what we have simply done is we've created a new OBS, which is sales consulting, and then created a department under that OBS, which is the maintenance department. Don't forget, since this maintenance department is under sales consulting, we can use these, our arrows that you have here, to position it exactly where we want it to be. So all we do at this moment is we click on the move left button, and then it clearly illustrates now that we have sales consulting, and under sales consulting there's a department which is known as the maintenance department that will be responsible for this very project which we're about to create. Now if you look at the detailed view of this organizational breakdown structure window, you will notice that we have two tabs there. One is general and the other one is responsibility. So under the general tab basically can help us give more description, just in case you want to add some other information that probably would help explain the meaning of your OBS a lot more further. That's essentially what this more description or OBS description has for you, or does for you. So all you need to do here is you click on modify, and then you can now type in the description of that very OBS. So I can simply say manufacturing, so I can simply say maintenance unit within sales. So don't forget that this is really not very compulsory, of course, except you want to add some other very important details. So once you've done that, you click on OK. Okay, so once we've done that, you will notice that on our OBS description, you get to see the description that we just typed in. So once you've created your OBS, then you can click on the close button. So what we have essentially done is to create an OBS. And remember, to create an OBS, it was pretty straightforward. We went to Enterprise, and then we clicked on OBS, and then also we clicked on the Add button, and also created the two OBS which we have at this moment, which is Sales Consulting as well as the Maintenance Department. Okay, so we've learned how to create a new OBS. Next, we shall learn how to create a new EPS. Remember, EPS simply means Enterprise Project Structure. So to create an EPS again, we go back to the Enterprise menu. So when you click on the Enterprise menu, you're going to see Enterprise Project Structure as one of the options there. So click on Enterprise Project Structure, and then it brings up the Enterprise Project Structure, which is the EPS window. So from the EPS window, you're going to see if, for example, you already have some projects within your P6 or some sample projects as it were. So you're going to see all of them clearly displayed here. So don't forget that you can actually have an EPS under an EPS, which is essentially what you have here. And like I told you, EPS is used for organizing or grouping or putting together groups of related projects. That's what the EPS helps us to do. And the symbol, of course, appears like a pyramid. So to enable us create our own EPS, just like we did during the OBS, when the EPS window appears, we click on the Add button. So when we click on the Add button, it gives us a provision for new EPS, and then also gives us a provision for new EPS under the EPS name. So when we have the EPS ID, which is where you have the new EPS here, you type in a specific identification or a specific code for your new EPS. So in this case, this is going to be a maintenance project. So in essence, we're creating an EPS for all our maintenance projects within the organization. So I can simply give it a particular unique code, say a short form of, maintenance, and then where we now have the EPS, or rather under the EPS name, where we have the new EPS, I can simply type in maintenance EPS. So what this helps me to do is that all my maintenance project would now come under this very EPS. But then also don't forget that initially we created an OBS, and we said that we have a maintenance unit who will be the responsible manager for maintenance project within our organization. So that's essentially what responsible manager below shows us. So here now click on my browse button, and then I select the maintenance department and I click on the select button. So you can see the responsible manager changes from what it was before to maintenance department. So what it simply means that I've created a new enterprise project structure, and then also I've assigned it to the responsible manager, which is the OBS that I've created earlier on. So once you're done with that, don't forget you can always use your arrow buttons to position them essentially where you want them to be, okay? But for me, I want it at the very top, so that's essentially why. So that's the reason why, I've moved it up. All you simply need to do is move left and then move up depending on where you want to position it, and that's the very function of these arrows that you have here. So once you're done creating your EPS, you can now click on close. So two things we've learned so far. We've learned how to create a new OBS, and we've also learned how to create a new EPS. So the next thing we're now going to talk about is how to create a new project. There are different ways you can create a new project in Primavera P6, and I'm going to show you some of the ways that you can actually create a new project using Primavera P6. One way, of course, is to go to the Enterprise menu, and as usual, we click on Project because we're creating a new project. So it brings us to the Project window. So we go to the command bar, which is the bar by the right hand side. Remember, we discussed this in our lesson 1, and then click on the Add button there. So when we do that, it brings up the Create a New Project window for us. And then, of course, part of the things it will first of all ask us is to select EPS. Let's close this and try another method for creating a new project. Another way we can create a new project is simply by going to the directory bar and click on New, the new icon that you have there. So I can simply click on New, and when I do that, it also brings up this same wizard for creating a new project. So remember, for the first one, we went to Enterprise and then selected Project. Then we clicked on the Add button in the command bar. For the second option, we simply clicked on New in the directory bar. Another way we can also create a new project is to go to File, the File menu, and then once you click on it, it drops down, then you can click on New. So if I do that, you notice that essentially this same create a new project window comes up. And then also don't forget, on your keyboard, you can always do Control N. Control N. So when you press Control N on your keyboard, it also brings up the create a new project window. So whichever option you feel is best for you, it's, works for you better. Good. So the first thing to ask us is to select an EPS. So remember, EPS simply means Enterprise Project Structure. And if you've been following our conversation, I told you EPS is used to group related projects. So since we're doing a project now which is on maintenance, it is only necessary that we put it within our maintenance EPS that we created the other time. So to enable us to do that, I go to this select EPS portion and then I click on the browse button. So it will display all my EPSs and then of course ask me to select EPS to add into the project. So since this particular project is a maintenance project, I select the maintenance EPS and then I click on the select button. So you notice that my EPS changes to maintenance EPS, which of course I created the other time. So once that is the case, you click on next. So the next thing the wizard will ask you is your project ID. So to enter your project ID, all you simply need to do here is you enter a specific code or unique identifier for your project. So in this case, our project ID, we're going to term it MFE. And then for the project name, we're simply going to title it Manufacturing Facility Expansion. Okay, good. So once you've entered your project name as well as the project ID, then you click on next. So the next thing it will ask you would be the start date for your project. If your project already has a specific start date, all you simply need to do is you click on the browse button here and then you select the date that the project would be starting. So let's say, for example, my project will be starting on the 22nd of October. So I select 22nd of October button. And then sometimes some projects come with a mandatory finish date. Say, for example, you want to have a wedding project and you already fixed a date for the wedding. So it therefore means that it has a mandatory finish date. So give or take, no matter what happens, to a large extent, we want to hold our wedding on the agreed upon date or the fixed date as it were. So if that's the case, you click on the browse button and then you select your must finish date. Say for example, 26th of December. But we're gonna be leaving this blank because we do not have a must finish date for this project. So once that is the case, you click on next. So to ask you for your responsible manager, which is of course the OBS within which you want this particular project to run. So in this case, our OBS is well selected, which is the maintenance department. Other than that, you can click on the browse button and select the relevant OBS. And then also that assigns it to your project. Then you click on the next button. So to ask you for your rate type. So rate type simply means the default, values that it would give to new assignment. So we're going to be leaving it at the standard rate type. Don't forget, you can click on the drop down and see other options that you have there. But then just like I said earlier on, standard rate simply talks about 8 units per day, and then or maybe 8 hours work per day, and then also 5 days per week. We're going to talk about this much more later. So you click on next. So you're going to get a congratulatory message that you've been able to create a new project. And then also this particular wizard tells you that you've created a new project. So once you're done with that, you can simply click on finish. And when I click on finish, you will notice that in my project window, under the maintenance EPS, I now have a project, which is the MFE project, which I just created at this moment. So this is essentially how to create a new project in Primavera P6, and then also how to create other things aside from a new project. including your OBS, your EPS, and then also your new project. So in summary, from what we've discussed so far, remember, we started by creating a new OBS, and to do that, we simply went to Enterprise and clicked on OBS, and then we clicked on the Add button and then created our OBS. And then to create a new EPS, we also went to Enterprise, we clicked on Enterprise Project Structure, and then clicked on the Add button and then created our new EPS. And to create a new project, we simply clicked on New in the directory bar, and it brought the Create a New Project wizard for us. So I hope this particular video has been quite informative for you. I want to thank you for listening. In lesson 4, we're going to be looking at how to create a work breakdown structure and then also how to decompose it further into activities. Those are some of the things we're going to be looking at in the very next lesson. Thank you so much for listening, and see you in lesson 4.